What up, guys? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories, UFO legend, and paranormal lore. Welcome back to a chilled, relaxed Sunday. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying your life, enjoying the weekend, taking some time to reflect, taking some time to enjoy your life because time flies by faster than you think. Let me tell you that. And if you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it, like Ferris Bueller says. So try to enjoy it as much as you can. So what are we going to talk about today? I'm not going to keep you on for any more fluff than is necessary. Remember, we're all meat and no filler over here. We don't try to waste your time. We try to give you the whole line and let you think about it. So today's story is titled Sasquatch versus the Giant White Lizard in a Fierce Battle in a Washington Forest. So that's the story today. That's the title of the article here, and we're talking about an article on PNM.com. So a giant white lizard and Sasquatch had it out in a Washington forest. So first of all, you got to believe in Sasquatch, and then you got to believe in giant white lizards that apparently fight back. So let's take a look at this here and see what we can find out. So according to this account, a witness was out hiking in the woods around Kirkland, Washington, as he soon came upon a creature climbing a tree. Initially, he thought it was a giant white lizard. As he examined it, he made out that it was a translucent creature with a tail. Well, that sounds a little bit different, doesn't it? Its body almost looked like an exoskeleton with stubby little legs or appendages. Its body looked like an exoskeleton with appendages, but its head turned around backward, looking directly at me, making a snapping noise with its mouth. Its face had jagged bumps at the top and bottom, and the witness just couldn't tell if they were teeth or just bumps. It sounds like teeth. Suddenly he began to hear a whooping noise. Just then, a creature came crashing through the brush. The white creature turned its head to listen and then began to scale further up the tree. A large blackish-brown bipedal creature, he recognized that it was a Sasquatch, suddenly came around the tree and grabbed it. The white creature was grabbed by its tail, whipped its tail, hitting the Sasquatch in the arm. Seemingly surprised, the white creature shrieked out and turned and leapt onto the Sasquatch, leapt right onto him. That's wild, man. And despite being 4 times its size, the white creature fought wildly, crawling all over it and burning it with some type of substance that the witness assumed was a type of venom because something was coming off of it, which caused the Sasquatch to shriek in pain. Dude, this is some wild shit right here. We have an entity that can exhibit and excrete some sort of venomous burning liquid. I mean, it sounds like reptile out of like Mortal Kombat, or if you watch The Boys, that entity being, I should say, that could shoot out like venomous like vomit and burn you. But anyway, as it was burning off the Sasquatch and he was shrieking in pain, the smoke was visible anytime the white creature would lean in to bite, although no spit would come out of its mouth. So we have smoke now coming off of the burning and coming out of its mouth too. That's what it sounds like. After some time, the Sasquatch again grabbed the white creature by its head and pulled it off. Just decapitated this thing with its hands. That's what a Sasquatch can do. The white creature flipped forward and then its head spun 360 degrees around. It bit the Sasquatch's arm. What? The Sasquatch threw it against a tree and then punched it, causing it to splat, similar to a fried egg. And the white creature seemed to do this on purpose, elongating itself around the tree to absorb the blow. The white creature then hopped to another tree, and the Sasquatch followed, attempting to hit it with a stick. Eventually, the white thing fell out of the tree and ran into the woods, and the Sasquatch followed it. What the hell? How could it even be moving around if he ripped its head off? The witness had no idea why, but the Sasquatch appeared to want to kill the white creature. Well, obviously, obviously they were battling for whatever reason, but he definitely seemed to be wanting to kill it. Now, what's the veracity of this hitchhiker or this hiker? I don't know. I just keep saying hitchhiker. What's the veracity of this hiker? I don't know. I don't have the in-depth details. Sometimes these folks write in and they don't give a lot of details as to their name, or maybe they don't want to be named. They want to be anonymous. But this is like one of the first times I've ever heard of an eyewitness witness a battle between two totally different species. And we have here a species that we're supremely familiar with, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. And the time and place sound right. Sounds like it happened in Washington State. We know there's plenty of Sasquatch in Washington State. This white lizard, though, seems bizarre to me. It could have been misinterpreted as a lizard, and in all reality, it could have been a couple different things, a couple different entities that we know about. Recently, I talked about a translucent entity that Randy Kramer was talking about, translucent species. That translucent means you can see the object, the entity, whatever the case is, but you can also see through it. So you can see the outline, but you can also see through it. Kind of like a little bit more solid of when Predator went translucent, kind of went invisible. You could see the entity, but you couldn't see everything. But in a lot of these newer entities that are translucent, you can see the organs light up and things like that. In this case, that's not the case. Even though they said it was translucent, he keeps referencing white, so and lizard. So we could clearly see it was a lizard too. So it makes me think it's a little bit more solid than what these other translucent beings are that are known to be hitmen. So either A, it could have been a hitman out for this Sasquatch from that plasmoid species that Randy Kramer talked about, or it could be a draconian. And the draconians that are tall are known to be white. And they're like called the royal Dracos, and sometimes they have wings as well. I don't know if that's part of their DNA hierarchy, that they're just higher up in the food chain, so therefore they get wings, or why these taller Draco get them. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that it has something to do with that hierarchy. There's benefits to being up higher up the food chain, isn't there? And some of those benefits are a pair of wings. Now, in this case, there's no wings. They also remarked that the Sasquatch was 4 times taller than it. So this isn't a tall Draco that we know of. I mean, the way that they have, kind of like, the AI photo, they have this long kind of Komodo dragon looking thing with, kind of like being on its all fours. So it's hard to tell when something's like on its all fours, or crawling up a tree would be easier to see because that goes vertical. But if it's on all fours and kind of like fighting from the ground floor of the forest, that'd be kind of more difficult to tell. But again, they said this thing was 4 times smaller than the Sasquatch, but they didn't say how tall the Sasquatch was. Typically, Sasquatch's like 8 to 12 feet tall, somewhere in that range, 8 to 12, right? Typically 8 to 9, right? This is kind of what we hear, sometimes 7, but usually not 6, because that's typical male human height, at least in America. So this thing, guesstimate, would be 2 to 3 feet tall, which seems kind of small, but bizarre in the fact that it could have its head ripped off and completely continue its battle and running away from Sasquatch and be thrown against a tree and then just sound like it's a Rubberman type entity, maybe a plasmoid type entity that could just like splatter like an egg up the tree and down the tree and then kind of reconfigure itself and run off. That now sounds like it's a little bit more like a plasmoid type of entity that could kind of expand when needed and retract when needed. So, and if it was a plasmoid type entity like we know with starfish, they can still think. They have all these brains, right? Or they have some sort of central brain, one or the other, where they're able to continue to battle, continue to fight, continue to live to see another day, despite having an appendage taken off. Well, if that's the case with these plasmoids, then they could continue to fight and continue to run away. That's what I'd have to lean into here. I have to lean into the fact that this thing might be one of these like Hitman type entities that came down to take out Sasquatch. Now, a lot of times, what we've heard from whistleblowers is that the American government or dark government or whatever you want to call them does send out a black ops team to take out a family or a grouping of Sasquatch type beings that might be terrorizing the locals. They go in and they take these guys out, bring them back for experimentation. Could it be that another entity sent a hitman species out to go take out this particular Sasquatch or a family of Sasquatch? Or maybe this Sasquatch just said, hell no, we won't go. We're not going to let you kill our families, so I'm going to take you out one-on-one and not let you try to kill the rest of my family? Yeah, 100%. So this is really fascinating to me. I really think it's an interesting story. I wish there was more to it. There's not a whole... They had a couple paragraphs, but not a whole lot of detail as to the individual. So what do you think about this one? This is kind of interesting. I like it. I like it that it has a battle. I like that it has two different species. I like that it has a new species that we haven't really seen a whole lot of. Again, I'm more fascinated with like the weird, obscure, unheard of stories of UFO legend and lore. Initially, when I started this podcast, I was doing kind of like the run of the mill, black triangles, and just kind of getting established with the podcast. But nowadays, I don't want to bring you some boring stuff. I want to bring you something that's interesting, new, that you haven't heard of before. And this is some stuff I haven't heard of before. So this is really interesting. Did you guys hear that Congress had another UFO UAP congressional hearing? That's really interesting. We're going to get into that next, I think. So I think that was, it's cool that they're still having these. It's funny that we have these bomb drop, amazing informational congressional hearings, and yet we continue to just go about our day eating McDonald's and Burger King. And I get it. That's what we do. What else are we supposed to do? Just drop everything and panic? No, you just be like, okay, well, cool, there's aliens. 90% of people in America believe that there are aliens out there. So for them to come out and say, oh yeah, no, we really know that there are because we picked up some crashed ships. Okay, yeah, and okay, what else did you find out? Did you find out anything cool? What can these things really do? Can they traverse time? Can they traverse, space time? Can they go inner Earth? What can these things do? And what do they know? And that, we need to get deeper. This is all surface level stuff we've all known for decades and beyond. So we'll get into it and we'll see what good old Louis Elizondo and crew say. But I think he did a good job. I think he came out pretty well spoken and gave a pretty confident answer into the fact that there are aliens here and that there is an alien UFO crash recovery team, and told Congress straight up that there is. So interesting stuff. So did these guys, the Sasquatch and the White Lizard, come in on a UFO? Were they transported in? Were they already here from inner Earth and their bases? Well, we'll talk about it next time. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Take care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Till next time, guys, take care of yourselves. Lockdown universe out. Well, please go like, follow, share, subscribe. That'd be awesome. Thank you, guys. Peace, love, and light. Out.